Welcome, everyone. Thanks for jumping into the AMA today. We are joined today. Well, first of all, I'm Xandra. I'm the community manager for CharmVerse. Really happy to see so many people in here today. And we are joined by CharmVerse co-founder Alex Poon and CharmVerse head of product Chris Carella today. And they're going to be chatting about some new CharmVerse features. Oh, someone's on here chatting. If everyone can just mute for the moment. We're going to be talking about CharmVerse Forum mostly, and some other features that have been deployed recently, and then some other cool happenings that we have that we want to share with you. So I also want to thank everyone that submitted questions for today. We'll be getting to those in a little bit. And also a reminder that we are raffling off 3 Link3 codes today, which will allow you to set up a personal Link3 account. So just make sure you're connected to Link3 and have your email linked as well, since the raffle codes will be emailed to the winners after the AMA. So I want to welcome to the stage Alex and Chris. Hi, guys.
Hey, what's going on?
Hi.
Hello, guys.
Welcome. Nice to be chatting. We got a good group in here today.
Yeah, definitely. That's that recording message was pretty epic.
It's pretty intense.
Interesting.
Now recording. That's our buddy Craig in here. So like I said, we're here to talk about some new features, some upcoming features, and some other stuff we've been working on at CharmVerse. I think one of the most exciting ones that we want to talk about and that I think people want to hear about is the forum.
Yeah,
So do you-
we can give you guys some updates. And by the way, we certainly would love to make this more interactive. So if you have questions, please do ping us. I think Sandra got a few questions from the audience, beforehand. But for the audience here, if you have any questions, please either post it in the channel or ping Sandra. We would love to kind of make this more as interactive as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. Please feel free to reach out or raise your hand too. We can call out people to chat. And like I said, I do have some questions that I received, but I was thinking you guys could kind of talk about forums and how it works and what's behind it. And then I can always throw out some questions afterwards that I received from the audience.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. So yeah, this is Alex. I'm one of the co-founders at CharmVerse. We're really excited about the forum. Partially, the forum is quite special because it's really the first major feature that is purely driven by our users. So most of the features in CharmVerse that you see or use today, we all sort of mostly are drummed up by the core team and decided to bring that to life, which is not true for the forum. For the forum is really suggested by one of our users and talking about how they envision using CharmVerse and what the workflow look like. But of course, once they shared that with us, it just made total sense as we continue to test and ask other users and prospect. We certainly get very similar feedback on that. It makes sense to add a structure conversation ability to CharmVerse. So that's what we end up building. So it basically, you can think of it as sort of like having your own internal Reddit for your community. So if you're using CharmVerse today, if you look at the top left corner, now you already have the ability to have your own forum. Different individuals can post forum posts in the forum, and any kind of comments and reply to the post threaded. So give you a chance to really get a better understanding like what the other person is talking about. Vishal has seen some of the other forums out there that it's just keep appending more comments on the bottom of the post. And for some of the more popular posts, often you have like 100 comments on the bottom, and you can't really quite tell who's talking about what and who's addressing whom. So you get a threaded common capability, and of course, the forum is managed by the same role-based access control like the rest of the platform. So if you are using token gating for your community, by having a particular NFT or tokens to grant access to CharmVerse, now you can apply the same level of finer control in the forum. So you can control on who have the ability to post, who have the ability to manage or moderate the forum, and so on and so forth. There's things like categories, and in the very near future, the forum will tie to the notification system that CharmVerse provide already, which you will get like in-app notification, but also email notifications. One piece that I think we're very excited about is tying the forum to the rest of the CharmVerse ecosystem. So one use case that happens a lot is that the community would want to have some sort of pre-proposal conversation in a structured manner. So oftentimes it starts with in a forum post and it being in comment. And what you can do in CharmVerse now is that, very soon, not quite yet, but it's very soon, is that you can create the posts and then have comments on them and so on and so forth. When the community deem this forum post to be sort of ready to become a proposal, you can then promote the forum post into a draft proposal, which directly push the forum post into the CharmVerse proposal builder, which the rest of the community can now sort of collaborate and fine tune that proposal, and get it ready for it to be voted on. Which again, you can vote inside of CharmVerse or send the proposal directly to Snapshot. So now you kind of really have this a single experience from casual conversation to a more structured conversation to a more structured proposal building, kind of all within CharmVerse. Chris, anything to add to that description?
Yeah, that was great. That sort of, you nailed all of the functionality of the forum. I maybe wanted to talk about when we first started exploring forums, like our user research, and we talked to people, contributors inside of DAOs and founders of DAOs. And one of the frustration points was, well, let me tick off three. One is the sort of solution a lot of people are using now is Discourse. Discourse it's forum software, and one of the challenges with Discourse, and there's basically two challenges we heard through our user research. One is that it's not token gated, and so Discourse is a very Web2 forum software, and you sign up with an account, and so it's not really private to your organization in any sort of meaningful way. And so having a token gated forum was one of the key things that we heard people really wanted. The other is having so many tools for your organization. Discourse wound up being another tool, and so it was pretty typical to see your stack was like, we did a lot of stuff in Discord. We vote on Snapshot. We have our forum posting in Discourse. We're using CharmVerse for documents, and then people felt like people just stopped contributing to Discourse because it's a one more tool to check. And so, one of the premises of the CharmVerse forum is you're all in one workspace. And so now you have token gated forums for your community right alongside all of the other core tools you're already using. And so the goal is to increase engagement and discussion. And then another key point of our sort of user research is that token organizations are global. And there's, in the first couple of years here of token organizations, there's been a heavy emphasis on Discord. Obviously, we would love Discord, and we're in it right now. But it can be really challenging across time zones. And so it can feel like you can only really contribute if you're awake at the same time as all of the other contributors are happening, or that really interesting discussions happen And then by the time you wake up and get online, the discussion has moved on. And so a real need for like asynchronous communication that's slow and thoughtful and can work across time zones. And that's sort of like another founding principle of having forum at all. And then certainly how the CharmVerse forum works. And then I'll just add the third point is there's just a lot of Discord burnout. And people have this kind of Discord anxiety. If you're in many of them, the notifications are constantly going, and you can very easily miss important conversations. And unfortunately, a lot of people are just leaving Discord because of that, and then don't really know the conversations that are happening. And then proposals just show up, and they have no context of why these proposals exist. And so that's sort of another key point of why a forum is inside of CharmVerse, so that you can have these like deliberate conversations about anything, but about governance is one of the key topics. And then people can consume it in their own time frames, and then be aware of it by the time it becomes a vote.
Yeah, actually, there's one more point that I add on top of what Chris mentioned is that another piece of as a community and how do you get to know each other, right? Is that now the member profiles is also part of the forum as well, so that as you collaborate with others over forum or over other parts of CharmVerse, your reputation sort of start to continue to build for your profile. But also, like if someone is commenting on your posts, you can click on kind of take a look at like who they are, seeing like what NFT do they hold, what other community are they part of, what other things have they done within the community. All that become available to you, so make it a lot easier compared to really just some random person with a PFP talking to you or commenting on your proposal, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's right. So Alex, I'd love to talk about maybe two use cases that I'm involved in, and how people are using forum. If you think it's a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So as well as being head of product of CharmVerse, I participate in many DAOs, and two of them rely on CharmVerse pretty heavily. And one of them is Purple. It's a nounish DAO. Just means that it kind of runs on the nouns, smart contracts, and its goal is to help grow the Farcaster ecosystem. So if you don't know what Farcaster is, it's like a decentralized social network, kind of a decentralized Twitter, and there's a lot of really interesting stuff happening there. And so Purple raised the treasury, and then we spend that treasury funding developers to build really cool stuff on top of Farcaster. And we have a Discord, and it's pretty active, and we have a lot of real-time conversation happening in the Discord. A lot of brainstorming and just ideas. And then when something gets like slightly more serious, like, hey, this thing we're talking about, maybe it should be a proposal, we then will take it to CharmVerse Forum, and then we'll kick off a forum thread. We'll share that link around with all of our members, and then have a more structured conversation in the forum around this idea. Often people with dissenting ideas are not in the Discord, or Discord just does not represent all of the views inside, I would say, any DAO, because only a handful of members really participate heavily in it. And so we get a lot of feedback from everyone. And then when it feels like we've reached some level of consensus, and even if that consensus is, okay, half of us agree, half of us don't, let's give a vote. But as soon as we go that, then we go from the forum post to a proposal. And that's at least how we're using forums in Purple. And then I would say, and then a second example is another DAO I'm a part of is called Art House, and the founder is in Australia, but a lot of the token holders are in the United States. And from the minute he started it, he said, I don't want to have a Discord. Discord is really challenging for me. The time zones are really challenging. Let's just use CharmVerse. And so therefore, all of our conversation around this DAO happens in the forum. And so, a little bit of Twitter DMing here and there, but as soon as anything becomes a discussion for the group, we're using the forum. We're chatting. This happens to be an art DAO, and so we're talking a lot about artists we want to participate with the DAO, and we just have that kind of rich conversation in forum. And so I just compare those two because one is the CharmVerse Forum as a supplement to the tools you're already using, and then the other is it's the only tool we're using because we wanted to keep everything in one place. I'm curious if you've seen some others using the forum or just some of the CharmVerse features in general.
Yeah, I think that what I've heard from some of our users that like basically it really is that sort of in between area of completely unstructured, just chit chatting on Discord, or Slack or Telegram, versus a more structured but still relatively casual conversation, but having a place that that is a little more organized and it's a little bit much easier to find compared to if we just a stream of messages in some of the other chatting platforms, and then being able to kind of move that around to a proposal. That's where I think people get the most excited about it. Yeah, I think like that's sort of the current state. That I think that would be some additional things that we'll be doing around this that we're not quite ready to share yet, but definitely a lot more to come when it comes to forum and other pieces of
I like the way you described. That like real-time chat can be really informal, and then the forum is still relatively informal, but it's more formal because it's because you have time to think about what you're about to write, and rather than 140 characters, maybe you're writing 500 characters, and so it's just like the conversation tends to be a little bit more thoughtful. And then as this thing graduates from a post to a proposal, then you can have a very formal conversation around the proposal using the feedback tools, the comments, suggested edits, and that's when things start to get like serious. So it's like we're going to vote on this thing. So just for those who haven't played with it yet, also in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see proposals, and then that's our proposal builder, and it's meant to sort of guide someone through creating a draft of their proposal all the way to getting feedback from the community to eventually going into vote. And so it can be really great for this forum post to go through that process and then get back to the feedback section where you're once again asking the DAO to comment on this proposal. But at that point, it's just a lot more structured. And, and it went from an idea to like, this is what I'm actually proposing.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, right, like there's different community have different way of talking to each other, different way of collaborating, right? So we're really not trying to dictate like, oh, this conversation, you must use this tool or must use this part of the tool and so on. But what we're trying to do is that like we could give you multiple very flexible set of sort of community Legos or like Web3 Legos so that you can build exactly the way you want to collaborate, the way you want to organize, but supporting you throughout those different processes, and not only giving you a one single channel and say, yeah, go start talking to each other. Right? So I think like that balance of how can we provide just enough tooling to help, making it easy and making it easy, flexible, and customizable to fit your specific needs.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. I know a little bit later we want to talk about templates to help focus people. But yeah, that is really truly the power of CharmVerse is you can kind of fashion it for your organization's needs.
So Sandra, I know I think there's some questions related to the forum. Have we addressed most of the points or anything that we should answer specifically?
Yeah, I think we have some that we should go over. I mean, I love how you guys are talking about this, and I think it's going to get people super excited. But you mentioned posts, but one of the questions was, can you do images and video within the forum currently?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So yeah, that's another actually very exciting piece about that, or at least we're excited about it. That editor of the forum of the post are basically the same editor that you get for within CharmVerse. So that means that you have access to the many advanced feature of a modern editor. That's from embedding images, tweets, and charts, and pictures, videos, and so on and so forth, and all within the forum post. So the interaction will feel the same way. The look and feel have very similar look and feel, and it would just work exactly how you expect it if you've been using CharmVerse already.
Fantastic. Yeah. If you're familiar with CharmVerse, Forum works just the same way, which is wonderful and familiar. So you guys talked about some specific use cases, governance, turning forum posts into proposals, discussing initiatives, stuff like that. But I thought it was worth mentioning, some of the ways we use it at CharmVerse, and it could be posting photos to each other, to long form posts, or just, your water cooler gossip that you don't get, all the time when you work remotely. And it's kind of a great way to go back and forth with your community, right? And kind of share different random thoughts, whether it's photos of your pets or, something, a snowstorm that hit your area that you want to share.
That's totally random examples.
Yeah, the like one of the more serious ends of that use case is our social team. After we publish things, we will then publish it on the forum so that everyone who checks the forum is just aware that, like, hey, a new blog post went up, or hey, we have a Twitter space scheduled, and we can have some chat around it. But that's one of them. And then, I remember very early on in my wireframes as we were starting on this, I was hoping there would be some light, playful Reddit-like stuff that could happen in the forum. As Alex described, the forum has categories, and so you can certainly have a random category. Anyone who's been in Slack knows that you kind of get a random Slack channel. I mean, literally hashtag random. Just signing up, and that's often where people will talk about their weekend or just kind of connect with their coworkers and community members with just kind of random stuff. And so we do a little bit of that in CharmVerse as well. And there's any number of things we could, we use it as a kind of casual space, but maybe you're really interested in crypto wallets. And so there's just a category of wallets, and everyone who loves wallets have a place where they can talk about it. And so that's why it's a little bit like Discourse, which is a forum for your organization. And it's meant to be a little bit like Reddit, where you have your own subreddits, which can also lead to some lighthearted spaces and some fun.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say just one more thing. Like personally, I consume a lot of content, and once in a while, if I read something I think is good for the team, I do share it, and I do find the forum to be a much better spot to kind of share. So, like recently, I think I read about some growth hack in the SaaS tool, and I think sharing that in the forum makes it much easier for existing and new team member to find that kind of information, not just today or this week, but also 3 months and a year from now.
Right.
Absolutely. I was going to mention, like, frequently asked questions, right? And any support that you might need could be a great use of forum too, which I believe we just implemented, posting any issues that we might be having with the platform, being able to use our CharmVerse forum for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a great case too. You guys talked about categories being on there, and there was a question of, do you have to be a part of every category, or can we subscribe to specific categories that we're most interested in?
So currently, as in today, you are a member of every category. But we are working on this week being able to. Let me talk about two future things. One that's happening in the short term, which is being able to subscribe to the categories you're interested in, and then therefore only get notifications for the categories you're interested in. And then a slightly longer term feature, although we're still talking just in a couple of weeks, we're going to overlay our whole permissions engine on top of forums. And so therefore you can create roles in your space. And so as my hypothetical example, imagine that I have the legal role in my DAO. We have a role-based system. I have a legal role. It gives me access to create pages and create proposals. But we can restrict categories to certain roles. And so maybe we have a legal section of the forum where we need some people to see all of that stuff and know everything that's going on, but maybe not every member of the DAO needs to see all of those forum posts. And so we'll be, not only is the whole forum token gated, but then we'll be making the channels themselves role gated if you want. And you can really configure your DAO so that people only see the categories they want or need to see.
That's awesome. I'm really excited to see that feature in action. One of the questions was, how does the token gating work related to the forum?
I'll take that. So
sure.
Token gate works the same way across the platform. So the CharmVerse platform control access based on your roles. So you can have as many roles you like, and then you assign your members to various roles. And in addition to that, you can assign certain token condition to the role. So you can say, if I hold a particular NFT, it gives me this role. You can hold this NFT plus certain DAO token, give you another role, and then all you have to do is really set up the roles for the forum according to what you want. And then the token gateway again work right through the system in assigning based on the token holding of the member, get the right role, and the role will control which category can they access and what they can do within the forum.
Fantastic. I will say one of the big questions that came in a couple times was, will this get us off of Discord? Which you guys already talked about, but I just wanted to reiterate that is definitely a question that people have when discussing the new forum feature, which is super exciting.
Yeah, and more so, what I'm seeing is, Discord is a powerful tool in its own right, and so maybe you want to use Discord for the things it's good at, which is real-time chat. But unfortunately, it's hard to get everyone to use Discord. One, there are just certain user types, people who just don't Discord. They don't have them on their phone. They just won't do it. And then, and there's a lot of those. Like in my DAO, I would say 50% of the people just don't use Discord. And so 50% of the people are not in this conversation. And then there's the other people who are reluctantly using it, but are getting burnt out and are trying to find something else. And so, I do think the future of remote work and token organizations, global token organizations, is certainly shared overlap time, because sometimes you really do need to talk in real time with people. But as much as you can asynchronous. And then I'll just say, on top of that, for many of these DAOs, all of the members have other jobs. They have jobs, and then they come home after their job and they try to contribute to their DAO. And that's another example of where a slower pace, asynchronous kind of workflow can really benefit those members of your DAO.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very easy for conversations to kind of get lost in Discord, and the forum just keeps things really structured and easy to find. And yeah, fantastic feature. I'm super excited about. Did you guys talk about upvoting and downvoting? Because I did have a question of if we had implemented that by someone that hadn't checked out the forum yet. Did you guys mention that?
I don't think we talked about it explicitly, actually. And
okay, I think you guys should talk about that feature.
Yeah. So our upvoting and downvoting is very much inspired by Reddit. And so posts themselves can be upvoted and downvoted. And then comments to those posts can be upvoted and downvoted. And then the forum can be sorted by a number of different ways. You can just look at the most recent posts, or you can sort it by the most voted posts. And so if you have a really active forum, you could use the uploading and downloading as a signal for what's a good post, what's not a good post, what's a high priority post, what maybe is not. And then likewise in the comments, you can sort of self-moderate a little bit through upvotes and downvotes where bad comments can be downvoted and will show on the bottom, and good comments can be upvoted and will start to show towards the top.
I'm really glad we implemented that feature, because even just in ours, it's fun to be able to look at like what people have enjoyed looking at the most, or identifying weak content, if you want to call it that. So yeah, that's great. What about, so you guys mentioned, some features that you want to implement or going to be implemented in the next couple days. We mentioned like permission and roles and subscriptions. Anything else about the feature as it is currently that you want to change or plan to add to?
I think Alex had mentioned wanting to complete the work where you can transform a forum post into a proposal. So I'm looking forward to that one. We did notice like you can upvote or you can downvote or you can comment, but there's no kind of simple emoji feedback like a Facebook like or like an Instagram like, to use a Web2 example. And so I think we're interested in finding some kind of emoji feedback system, so you don't always have to comment to give a thumbs up. So that's another one. I think that with the permission system that's coming, it's a pretty complete product. So, Alex, is there anything I missed on the short-term roadmap here that we would be excited to have around Forum?
No, I think in the short term, this is pretty complete. Again, there's certainly other sort of connective tissues with all the pieces that we are building, but that's almost like a different topic.
Cool. Anyone here have any questions? You can always tap in the chat for the lounge channel that we're in. If you guys have questions that come up along the way, please throw them at us. I think I covered all the questions I got specifically about Forum for the moment. But if anything comes up with anyone listening, please either raise your hand or throw it in the chat. We're happy to answer that. Guys, if you don't have anything else to add, we can move on to some other cool stuff we're working on.